NBC10 Breaking News.
I'm First Alert Meteorologist Brittney Shipp. We bring you a tornado warning. This just was issued a few seconds ago. This is going to stay in effect until 11:30. This is for parts of Newcastle County. People affected within this tornado warning, 100,000. Potentially radar indicated. We also have the potential of seeing hail just a little less than 1 inch in diameter. So we want to start with that tornado warning. We want to get you straight to what this looks like. We're going to track some of this for you as well. So again, we know this stays into effect until 11:30. We're going to pause the radar so you can see it. We're going to take away some of the radar or the warning boxes. We want to make sure that we are focusing solely on where this is. So we're going to switch over now, give you a closer look at our velocity. So that is a tool that we use that helps us determine if there's any rotation. So what you're going to see is red and green, and what we're basically looking for is a couplet coming together. And when we have that couplet, that tends to indicate that we're seeing potentially some rotation here, and it is pretty well defined. So this is just crossing over into parts of Newcastle County. We're going to put a locator on this so I can really emphasize what we're watching here. So this is what you can see. What we're looking for is the red and the green coupling together. So this is just close to St. Augustine here, and this is going to be tracking to the northeast. So we can get a little bit closer. If you're closer to Fraser Road, you need to execute your safety plan here. We are going to put this in motion in Q2. This is how we query on our computer here exactly how fast some of these cells are moving. So this particular cell is moving at 25 miles per hour, and it is tracking to the north at this time. This particular tornado warning is going to be staying in effect until 11:30 for Newcastle County. If you live within Newcastle County at this time, you need to be very careful. So let's get a closer look here. We have a lot of lightning. We have a lot of thunderstorms coming down with this particular cell. We're going to pause it. Once again, we're going to actually query how fast this is moving. So we know this is moving at 25 miles per hour, and this has been the trend for this entire night. We've been following this for the past 5 hours or so. And at this time, we want to show you exactly where this is heading. So we know this is pretty close to St. Augustine, as I mentioned. And if we zoom you in a little bit closer here and we start to put a tracker on this, then you can see that it's going to be tracking to the north at 25 miles per hour. So we're going to start calling off a few names. So at 11:13 p.m., Summit Bridge, Caravel Farms, you need to make sure you're getting in your safe space. That includes a basement, anything that doesn't have any windows. You want to be very careful with this particular storm system. So we're basically saying anyone that lives in Newcastle County, you are now under this tornado warning for at least 30 minutes. It's hard to see when we have a lot of different watches and warnings, and what we have is not only a severe thunderstorm warning, but we also have a flash flood warning that we're dealing with as well, and that's the green area that you see highlighted. So with a flash flood warning, this is particularly dangerous as well, and this is going to stay in effect until 2:30 in the morning. So the best thing I can do is try to eliminate some of the clutter that we have here because there's so much happening. So about 30 minutes ago, this particular storm system was just a little bit to the south. So now we're going to go and put this together on our velocity just to show you where we're potentially seeing a couplet as it continues to push into Newcastle County. So our concern, you can see it right there, Chesapeake City here, closer to 71. Do you see that coupling? Do you see where the green and the red are coming together? That starts to indicate that we're dealing with rotating wind speeds. We know this is moving to the north at 25 miles per hour. So the concern here, we're going to just zoom in, is going to be 286, areas like Goose Point, Summit Bridge. Again, if you live anywhere near any of the streets that I'm going to call off, you need to execute your safety plan, which again includes your safe space in your home. You need to stay away from any windows. This entire system is tracking very slowly, so you have a little bit of time to move. It's going to be tracking to the north at 25 miles per hour through Newcastle County. This tornado watch is staying in effect until 11:30. So when we put a tracker on something like this, it shows us all of the different neighborhoods, so you have a little bit of time. Right now it is 11:03. And this is moving slowly, 25 miles per hour. So potentially in Glasgow by 11:16, Bear 11:25, 11:29 for Christiana, and then for Pike Creek at 11:38. So you do have a little bit of time. What we always recommend is that you turn up the volume on your TV, you grab your phone, you try to pull up our NBC10 app, and you can follow along with what I'm tracking and what I'm saying the entire time. Another thing that we like to use is with the National Weather Service, we have a chat with them and we can follow along with what their thoughts are. So we have our cell phone here that we're using. We have all of our technology where we can track exactly what's happening. We get updates from the National Weather Service on our phones and on our laptops, and we know that this is going to be staying in effect again until 11:30. So let's go a little bit closer to street level. This tool is one of the best ones we can use to find out where those rotating wind speeds are, and it definitely looks like it's closer to Chesapeake City at this time, heading to the north at 25 miles per hour. We're going to call off some street names. We're going to call off some neighborhoods here just so you can stay prepared. So the areas that I'm most concerned about at this time that could be in the path of a tornado includes any of these areas just to the north. So we're talking Four Seasons, West Chestnut Hill Road, Newark. We have Arbor Park, Chestnut Hill Estates, Piermont Woods, 95, 72, where those come together, Keeney, Range Hill Estates. All of these areas, you are currently under a tornado warning. You need to go to your safe space within your home. So we know that this tornado warning is going to be staying in effect here until 11:30. Doesn't look like the National Weather Service has canceled this at all. In fact, has it been extended? Let's see. This is going to continue to track 25 miles per hour. So we have areas like Christiana, you are under this tornado warning. Red Lion, Kirkwood, again, we can't emphasize enough, this is the time to move. We've talked all day about tornado warnings versus tornado watches. The entire area, virtually, it's still under that tornado watch until midnight. But where you have this box right here, this red box, that is a tornado warning, and that means it's time to move if you live anywhere in Newcastle County, especially north of the cell that we've been tracking for you. That severe thunderstorm warning includes a larger area, includes Middletown, but this particular little slice here of bright red, that is your tornado warning. It's going to be staying in effect until 11:30. The amount of people affected, about 100,000. We also have a flash flood warning. So this is a dangerous situation when you have the combination of that tornado warning and the flash flood warning. Fred, I know you're standing by. You have tips on what people need to do right now since we're under this tornado warning, and I'm going to continue to see what the update is from the National Weather Service. Fred.
Yeah, that's right, Brittany. Yeah, you've been talking about this all evening long and warning our viewers that they should have their safety plan in place. We've seen this coming together, meaning you should have your phones charged. You should make sure you have the NBC10 app downloaded. Also want to go through what we should be looking for if there's a tornado warning, because we've been talking about this. We know there's a tornado warning issued in our area. If you are home right now, you should head to the basement and stay away from higher levels of your house. If you don't have a basement, take shelter in a small inside room in the center of your home, such as a closet or a bathroom. Make sure you stay away from outside walls, windows, and doors. Now, if you're in a high-rise building during a tornado warning, you should also go to a central room or basement or a bathroom. Again, make sure you're staying away from windows and cover your head. We had been under a watch for the most of the night, and there's a difference between a watch and a warning. A watch versus a warning. A watch means a tornado is possible. It means you have all of the ingredients to make a tornado. So you should check for forecast updates to see how the forecast is coming along, monitor the sky conditions, know where to take shelter. Having your plan in place comes into play here. Now, the warning means all those ingredients have come together to make a tornado. So that's where we are. We have those ingredients coming together now. That's what Brittney is tracking right now. That means a tornado is imminent. That means you should take shelter now. You should seek further information. Be sure to check the forecast and the updates. And I know we have an NBC10 photojournalist right now who is out on the roads right now. Here is a look at the turnpike heading north near the Plymouth Meeting, Montgomery County area. It's been pretty wild out there. You see the windshield wipers going and precipitation coming down. But this is not over yet. We're going to be tracking this again, this warning in effect until 11:30. Brittney, I know you've been watching this all evening, telling our viewers to get their safety plan in place.
Yes, that's absolutely right. So we do have the tornado warning that's going to be in effect until 11:30. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning. We have a flash flood warning. But of course, what I want to focus on right now is this tornado warning, which again, we're querying the latest information. It's still in effect until 11:30. The National Weather Service has continued with this warning. The cell that was capable of producing a tornado was located near Middletown, moving north at 25 miles per hour. So another tool that we like to use is our velocity. And what we like to see is the red and green coming together. Now the cell is moving, so we have to move kind of this locator just to show you exactly where it is. The areas we potentially could be dealing with some rotation here. We're going to show you, earlier it was near St. Augustine, but now everything continues to track to the north. So areas of concern always include where this red and this green is meeting up. So as you can see, it's for places like Howell School Road. This is where the red and the green are meeting up. That indicates that we have some rotating winds with our radar returns here. And we like to go street level to explain exactly what's happening. If you know anyone that lives near Howell School Road, 896, Old Country Road, Glasgow Avenue, Caravel Farms, Glasgow, you are potentially experiencing a tornado with rotating winds. This is tracking, we know, to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So the areas, I can also put this in motion so you can kind of see how it's moving, and it's moving directly to the north. What that means is areas like Bear, Christiana, Pike Creek, Wilmington, you're still all under this tornado warning at least until 11:30 tonight. You want to make sure you are seeking shelter. You're heading down to the lowest level of your basement. We do have, or your home, hopefully you have a basement. We do have another tool we like to use. It's called our correlation coefficient. Sometimes it's great because it will show us if there's any debris flying around. You typically will see some of these colors here. They're typically blue or green, and you can actually see them flying around. It looks like a circle. It looks like a debris ball. We're not really seeing that at this time. Instead, we just have to focus on the radar and our velocity. That's the best way we can kind of determine exactly where these really strong cells are moving. So where you have, it looks like the National Weather Service may have continued this. They're pushing it a little bit further to the north. They've canceled out areas just outside of our region near Chesapeake City here, but they are going to continue this. Let's look at the time on this particular tornado warning. It just popped up, which means the National Weather Service has just updated this. And I think they just dropped a few of the cities here because the people affected went from 100,000 down to 82,000. This is still in effect, however, until 11:30, mainly for Newcastle County. We know as well from this latest query, which we can do right here on our computer, that this is still moving. Let me see if it's still moving at 25 miles per hour. Technically, the latest update has bumped us up. We know that this is moving to the north now at 30 miles per hour. So we need to adjust our tracker here. We can actually punch this in. We can add this 30 miles per hour. And then what we can do with this information next is start to track this. I like personally the velocity mode because it shows us a little bit of rotation. Now remember, I always have to move this because the cell is moving. It's moving to the north here. So what we look for, we're looking for that red and that green coupling up together. And we tend to find that closer to Kirkwood at this time. Technically, the National Weather Service even mentioned Elkton here. So we know where the red and the green are coupling together. That potential is there for rotation. And that means we put it together. This is moving to the north at 30 miles per hour. When you have that combination here, we can already tell which neighborhoods need to take cover. That includes Pike Creek. That includes Iron Hill. That includes potentially London, Britain. That includes Hockessin, Christiana, Bear. Anyone traveling around 95, hopefully most people heeded the warning of the tornado watch in effect until midnight and they are at home. And if you are at home, I know, Fred, you do have some tips for people to remember. If you are currently one of these cities that we have been calling out, Hockessin, Pike Creek, but really Christiana, Bear, Glasgow, Old Baltimore Pike, you really need to take cover. Turn up the volume on your TV. Download our NBC10 app. Hopefully you have it on your phone so you can stream this entire thing live. If you do not have a basement, or if you do not have a TV in your basement, you can still keep in touch with us as we continue to track exactly where this potential rotation and these strong wind speeds are right now. Let's switch you over to the radar and just show you here. It becomes really hard to see with all the watches and warnings. Let me try to take a few of these off so we can just focus on the tornado warning and not so much the flash flood warning at this time, or even the severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to start removing things just to give you a little bit more clarity on exactly what we're tracking right now. We're going to pause this radar as well and just focus in on this tornado warning and exactly which neighborhoods are most concerning for the National Weather Service to have issued this. And again, that includes where you see this red line. So this entire red box, that's your tornado warning. Fraser Road up towards Old Baltimore Pike, 95 Christiana, you are all under this tornado warning until 11:30. Right now it's 11:14, and the National Weather Service updated this recently within the last 5 minutes or so. So what that means is what they're seeing on this thunderstorm cell is still concerning, and we know it's picking up in intensity a bit. It's moving at about 30 miles per hour to the north. So the National Weather Service has not canceled this. In fact, they're still concerned about it because they did continue the tornado warning about 5 minutes ago, and they updated the speed from 25 to about 30 miles per hour. So this started for us at around 11 p.m. We came on air immediately, and now we continue to track how strong this storm cell is. We want to also just query our rainfall amounts here. This is just the tornado warning, but we want to show you, if we turn this off, how much rain we're seeing with this particular cell. This is a lot of rain coming down in a short amount of time. It is prompting flash flood warnings as well. We have really strong wind gusts throughout the region. So even if it's not rotating, we're just dealing with straight line winds. Look at this rainfall rate. This was a concern for us as well. Almost 3 inches per hour. These are some of the highest colors that we see on our table here in our legend. We typically see those bright reds, and the highest is white and that magenta color. But even when we start to see these bright reds, it means this is a lot of rain that's coming down in a short amount of time. That leads to flooding. We have really strong wind gusts. We could take a look at the wind gusts in this particular area as well. But overall, the thing that we are watching for you is the fact that we do have this tornado warning that looks like it is still in effect. So this has not been canceled. That means the concern is still there. We know the latest information is that this is tracking at 30 miles per hour. It's moving to the north here. You can see all the areas that are now under this tornado warning. The one thing that the National Weather Service did is they did decrease the size of this tornado warning. Originally, it included parts of Chesapeake City, Elkton, and now it's mainly focused on Fraser Road up towards Old Baltimore Pike near 95 Christiana. Eventually, it's going to push closer to Hockessin here. But let's take another closer look at exactly the latest detailed information on here. And again, we can see staying in effect until 11:30, which means we have about 13 more minutes. And as we take a closer look at our velocity mode, which I like to see, we always have to redo the view on this because it is moving quickly. And it looks like I can see where they're concerned, the National Weather Service, with this particular one. Because you can see a decent amount of coupling. When you see the coupling, which is the red and green coming together, that indicates some rotation. So this tornado warning will be in effect for at least another 13 minutes. And Fred, I know you're standing by with more details on what people need to remember if their neighborhood is under a tornado warning.
Yeah, this is very important because you bring up a very important point. When we first came on the air, you had 100,000 people who were impacted by all of this, and now we've gone to 82,000 people, and we know that this storm is still moving. The intensity has picked up from 25 to 30 miles per hour moving north, and there are some things that we need to know that we should do when there's a tornado warning. We've been talking about this. If you are in a home, you need to head to the basement and stay away from higher levels of your house. That would be the first floor. If you don't have a basement, that would be taking a shelter in a small inside room in the center of your house, such as a closet or a bathroom. That's what you see highlighted there. I want to go back over to Brittney, who has an update for us.
Yeah, and it just looks like the National Weather Service has just canceled the tornado warning for Newcastle County. So we are still dealing with flash flood warnings in the area until 2:30, but luckily the tornado warning has expired through the National Weather Service. So we will continue to update you. Stay with us. You're watching NBC 10 News.